Okay, is anybody there? Anybody can hear me? There's not anyone going to be able to come online today at this time. I really just wanted to go over the D2L and Evernote. If I can get my Chrome to work here. I'm not sure what's going on. Doesn't seem to want to. There, it let me. Okay, open another tab here. What I want to do is go into D2L and look at our Evernote schedule, and I just wanted to be sure that everyone is able to read what we have going on and participate. So I wrote here that we do have a hangout today. Now let me make sure this is what's supposed to be showing up in the hangout. I believe it is. I don't know. This is kind of weird. Okay, if I minimize this, I believe you're seeing D2L. I hope this works. We'll check it out here in a minute. And what I wanted to be sure is that everyone's aware of the should be the Evernote link here, and I've also added all the PowerPoints, which is what I wanted to go over Chapter 2 today using the PowerPoints. So if we look at week number 1, I had you all use the Android Studio, and some of you were successful with that. It was a little tough to use. I went ahead this week and downloaded from this app inventor, which is what's used at in our textbook, and it was very easy to follow. If you go to this link and click on the Get Started, it tells you how to set up the app inventor, and then I believe it's this one, the beginner tutorials, that has, no, that's not the one. There's one here that actually has, oh, when you click on the Create button, so anyway, if you just go here, okay, somebody should be trying to join, I guess. I'm not sure what's going on here. You have to just join the, you don't start another video call. I'm not sure what's happening here or who's trying to join. Let's see. Let me look at it. I should be on my Google Plus. Oh, Charles. Click to join the video. Okay, I will be here for a while, so just let me know when you're ready. Okay, did you not get an invitation? Let me send an invite again. Let's go up here. I do the wrong ones. Let's see, mobile app. Okay, not sure if you guys are, what's happening here. I added Melissa, Brittany, and 4 others to the Hangout. I did the wrong ones. Let's see, mobile app. Ah, there we go. I see you guys now. There's Catherine and Charles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was happening? Did I not invite you in the beginning, so you started another one?
No, I had my Rose account up and everything. It didn't have my personal Gmail account up. And I look at the time and it should have started by now.
Pardon? It should be your Raider one. Is that not what you guys are? What's happening here? Oh, I don't know what that is. I added Melissa, Brittany, and 4 others to the Hangout. Like I have an echo. Let's see. I've got 2 video calls somehow. I'm going to see if I can get this one. Ah, there we go. I see you guys now. I don't know what's Catherine and Charles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, this
Did
is
I not
weird.
invite you in the beginning, so you started another one?
No, I had my Rose account up and everything. It didn't have.
Now somebody else is trying to. I think it's because Brittany Cox, she has her outside Gmail that we did Google Hangouts with before, and now we're using. Let me go in here though and see if I can. Ken told me to try sharing screen this way, and I don't think it's working this way. I have to share just. I'll just share this one and see what happens, because it goes into a black hole and then I can't see everybody. Okay, everybody should have got an invite, but I think there's 2 or 3 people having trouble getting in. Like right here, it says I'm in a video call with somebody, with these guys. You are in Brittany +4. Oh, no, this class I've had trouble getting online with. I don't know. Okay, let me see. So it's still just Catherine and Charles here in the Hangout. And I wanted to be able to go through my... Are you guys not in the Hangout? Okay. I know that all of them have done Hangout before, the other ones that are here trying to get in. I just don't know how to tell them. Well, it looks like, Catherine, at one point you were in that other video call. Is that right?
It's the one before?
Yeah, or was there one? I'm showing on my Google here. You see that? That right there is where it says Brittany +4. And it shows, I don't know if they were trying to get in. I'm not real sure what was going on. And it still shows that video, that there's a video call there, and that's what I invited people outside or something. Okay, well, let me see what questions you guys might have, and let's see. Oh, it's something open now. I don't know where it is. When I did desktop, share screen desktop, did you all see like a bunch of screens, or did it show you what I was doing at the time? Like if I share right now, it looks like a bunch of them going into a black hole. Well, Ken told me if I minimize it, that now I could show, like, okay, I want to show the Evernote schedule. Do you see D2L now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I guess it is going to work because I wanted to be able to show PowerPoint too and all that. So, all right, so first let's look at this Evernote so I can see if you have any question. My daughter's texting me and I've got to tell them. See. All right, so if we look here at our Evernote, that's kind of small. Let me see if I can get it a little bigger. That should help. Okay, and what I was talking about when everybody started being able to log in is what I had assigned because Android Studio was a little tough to work with. I couldn't make changes as easily as I would like to. And if you've looked at this App Inventor, it's real drag and drop, and you can still see some of the code, but it runs on the emulator just as if you had an Android, but it also tells you exactly how to connect your Android device. And I now have an Android tablet that I checked it out on, so it's pretty cool. But if you click here and go to the Welcome Inventors page here, and then to be able to load or install the App Inventor, you just click here on Start and the setup instructions, and it tells you option 2. These are actually the setup instructions for your emulator. You don't go to there first. Hold on, let me go back. Where did I download? Oh, right here. The App Inventor software or service is here. So you go here and sign in. Welcome to App Inventor. Oh, this is showing the one that I already did. But why is it showing it on here? Because I didn't do it here. I did it on my laptop. But this is what you're going to try and create, is this little app, and so it actually gives you the image and it gives you a sound file. And so now if I run it or connect to my emulator, let me reset. Oh, this is not going to let me do it right here. I have it on my laptop. But whenever you run it on the emulator, you can click the little select button in the middle and it actually makes the meow sound. It's really pretty cool. So you use here, instead of using the actual text, you get to drag and drop the button on and a label. And I couldn't get the sound under media. There's the sound one to work, so it told me to use the player one, and that's what I ended up using instead of the sound button. But I think I was pushing the wrong button because I kept trying on the emulator to push this, and there's actually the button on the emulation device that you would want to push. So let me go back to where the instructions are. Here was the here's where the hello per is. If you click on create, oops.
Okay, I was kind of wondering where that was at and everything. I thought when you said hello per that you were meaning the hello Android app. So that's the one I had created, but I could go back and do the hello per one as well.
On Android Studio, are you talking about?
On this one here, App Inventor. I
Okay.
did the hello world.
Yes.
Thinking that there might have been just a typo when you said hello per.
Oh, no, there's actually one, and I don't know why this is coming up with mine already created. I may have to look on my, let me go back here just a second to, I may have to go back to my laptop. It should have been here. maybe it was this one is where I found the Hello Purr. And click create. Oh, that's just taking me right to the one that's already done. There's an actual tutorial. I do not know why I can't find it now. It's on my Talk to Me, Digital Doodle. This is crazy. It's like because I did it once, I made it work yesterday. That was really cool, but I cannot see tutorials. Okay, these are the tutorials. Maybe this is what I have to do. Paint pot. That isn't the one. I went straight to the link that's on here. Running your own app inventor service. That's the one that I keep bringing up. Okay, let me go here again and see. App Inventor is a cloud-based tool which means that you can build apps right in your web browser. This website. That's why that one's coming up already built. When you all click on that one, that link in Evernote, does this come up? And if the App Inventor software or service is here, well, it's showing the one that I already built. It says you can get there by clicking the orange Create button from any page on this website. So if you go up here, if you click that link in Evernote, Catherine, are you still there?
Yes, I'm just having some kitty baby issues.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if you go to Evernote and you click on that second link that I gave you, why is that coming up? This one, you should come up to, oops, not there, to here.
It doesn't bring me there.
Where does it bring you to?
It brings me to the page where it says Get Started Tutorials, Teach, and Forum.
Okay. Okay, then click on the Start button. I think I see what I did. Okay, getting started. Then there's one that says, that's the one that keeps taking me.
If you're looking for the Hello Purr one, if the page where it says Get Started Tutorials, Teach, and all that, I just clicked on tutorials and then Google, or the little search bar, I just searched Hello Purr and it came right up.
Okay, good. All right. So
App Inventor MITEDU/explore/content/hellopurr.html.
Okay, so if you go here, if you click on this and you come here, then you clicked on the Start button here. Is that right?
Tutorials.
What's that?
I clicked on tutorials. I was just looking.
Okay. And then up here you did Hello Purr?
Correct.
Okay, mine came up this way. Building your first app, Hello Purr. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So I need to tell them exactly, because then what you do, this is the first one, tap the kitty to hear him meow. So it tells you how to do it. It will have a button, tells you step by step. Because first you have to download up here the image. There's the image and the, somewhere, right here, kitty.png. You see it? Kitty.png and meow.mp3. So download those in a folder, and then it will have you select the components to design the app, and it shows you right where to put them. See, from the basic palette, drag and drop a button, and you just put the button there. Then you upload the file for the button over here, wherever you have your file saved. And then it will put that kitty in the image. You see, here's the where you set up the properties. So yeah, just follow that tutorial through. I guess I better, this is where that link is. Let me go into Evernote and fix that. Let's see, using... Okay, so that would be, okay, Hello Per app is, there it is. Now, you should be able to get to that now. And test on the emulator unless you have an Android device to test. Then upload your packaged app to the Chapter 4 folder, and it actually creates an app, and it tells you how to do that. Where we were at, where was that? Here, no, that was, ooh, that's like showing me all these things. Okay, if I go back, see, there's a bunch of different tutorials here, because it also has you make the cat purr in there at the bottom of it. Where do I go to? Connect, project, build. Oh, right here's the build app. And if you're going to load it onto a Android device, then you provide a QR code. But if you just want to run it on your computer, then you can package it to my computer like that. And so either one of those, just so I see that you've packaged it. And I should be able to go out to your see, mine still says Hello World, Charles, like what you said, but it's actually the, I can change that over in the title properties.
Yeah, if you scroll down towards the bottom, there's a little deal that says title, and change that from Hello World.
Where is that? On this one side, or I changed it on the one. I don't know why it didn't change. About screen.
No, it should be down towards the bottom. Just underneath that check mark, you'll see title.
It says title, but it says screen one. That's what it's going to change. Is that Hello World? Let me see. I think that's a different title. Yeah, that just changed it over here on, which I guess that's okay, on there, on that screen. See, I can't get, I know why my emulator isn't working here, because I ran it on my laptop. So I don't have what I need installed for here. Let me go back over here. Now, this is the one for the emulator. Option 1, recommend build apps with an Android device and Wi-Fi connection. Option 2, don't have an Android. Okay, here's the instructions for the emulator. Install the App Inventor, set up software. That's what I haven't done here yet. So, download the installer. I think I did it over here. And so this is the emulator installer, emulation installer. Once I get this installed on here, then I can see what it looks like on an Android device. Should be coming up here. Huh, I get mixed up whether that's the actual. Okay, there it is. Okay, so now after you do that, on the standard, okay, I did all that. If you're updating, no, I'm not. Setup emulator. This one. Okay, the emulator. To launch, I have to click on the icon above. Yeah, I think from here, all I had to do was go connect, reset connection, connect emulator. It usually did take a couple minutes. There it is. Can y'all see it coming up? The emulator?
Yeah, it's kind of small.
Here, I'll put it over here and make this. Maybe if I make the screen bigger. But no. It's still coming up in just a second. It should put that cat over on there. Oh, click OK. Oh, it's saying it was out of date. Okay, yeah, I remember I had to do this too. You have to say install on the actual device. Okay, done. And then this is when I go there and say connect, reset, connect, emulator. Now it should work. I remember I had to do this the other night. I had to go through because it comes up and it's not updated first. And what I kept doing was once the cat appeared, I kept clicking on this button, and you have to click on the button on the device. There it is. And now, there it was. Do you hear it? So it did work on there, and so that any of those tutorials, though, if you want to do additional ones, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on Android because I noticed most of you found out in your research that it's still more profitable to develop on iOS. And Ken Dewey was telling me this morning also. The other thing is that 97% of Android stuff has malware because it's so open-ended where anybody can upload things to Google, and he said Google was just putting things out there, whereas iOS is a little bit more picky about what they let in the store. So those are some of the things that you want to look at when you choose which development area. But I saw, like for Khan Academy, they were hiring mobile developers, paying like $90,000 a year, and you could even work from home. So this is a really big. All of the discussions that I read of everyone's, the lowest paying starting out was like 40 to 50,000, which for an entry level didn't even say you had to have what your degree had to be in. So these are areas. That's why I wanted to be sure everybody understands too what we're going to do on the second part. I want you to continue in Khan Academy and complete the section on animation basics. And that will be due by next Monday. And then read Chapter 2 and complete the following exercises. And that's what I need to know. If you have any questions about it, at the end, I tell what page, that's on page 38 in your book. And I know there was a couple people that didn't get their book. I don't know. It was hard to find, I understand. So what I wanted you to do, you don't actually have to do research projects 1 and 2, but what is in research projects 1 and 3, not 1 and 2, I should have said 1 and 3, will actually help you in your presentation. So I've got to find out why these other people are not getting into the Hangout, because we have to do those presentations in the Hangout. So I'm going to try to find out what happened, why everyone else couldn't get in today. And so the PowerPoint on Chapter 2, I've loaded all of the PowerPoints in for you all to be able to go over, but at the end of Chapter 3 is when we'll have our first test, and it won't be over the Android stuff. It'll just be over these 3 chapters. And so that will probably be a couple more weeks before we do that. But if we look at what's in Chapter 2, are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to, in Chapter 2, describe the architecture of each platform, summarize the similarities and differences between platforms, and explain the life cycle of an app on each platform, and compare the life cycle features in each platform. I thought it was very, I really enjoyed reading all of the discussions. You all might want to go back and look at, if you haven't, and comment on what different ones found, because all of them were very interesting. As far as the pay, I never realized that it was at that point. Okay, so the general platform architecture, that's talking about either whether it's iOS, whether it's the Android, or whether it's the Windows. And I don't know that we will actually do anything with the Windows, because it's actually Windows 8 and our book is Windows 7. So I did see where some people said Windows was gaining a little bit more popularity. But I don't know. iOS is still probably going to corner the market on actually the mobile development, just because it's just like how it was with Microsoft, the difference in the operating systems. Microsoft is open-ended, and so it can run on any PC, whereas the Mac OS runs strictly on Apple. So that's some of the differences. But the general platform architecture is where the applications layer, which is what we're working on, the core libraries, which if you used Android Studio a little bit, it talked a lot about using different libraries. The operating system and the hardware, that's the general platform architecture, and that's what's showed there and explained a little bit more detail on page 18. Then here's the Android architecture, which is what we've been working on. The applications, the application framework. There's all these different managers that are just pieces of software that manage these applications. Then we have the libraries, the Android runtime, the Linux kernel. These are just parts of the Android architecture. So you can see they're a little bit different. You can, on page 20, it talks about using Java as the programming language has its benefits. Many developers already use this language, so they don't need to learn a new one to create Android apps. And that's why they're being cranked out so fast, is because you can use Eclipse. And you probably saw in Android Studio, it talked about converting your Eclipse IDE projects to the Android Studio, which was still more of a programmer type environment, where this app inventor that is part of it, talked about here in our book, is really more of a drag and drop than it is. You do have to understand when it's talking about an event handler. The events are like button click or swiping or things that you do, then you would code a event handler for when that happened. Okay, so all Android devices use the Linux OS, which is a whole lot like iOS. It's more because the iOS is built on a Linux framework.
Yes, BSD, I believe.
Pardon?
BSD Linux?
Yes.
Is the core of the iOS.
That's right. So it's Linux also. So, and I think in cybersecurity, which I know that's what Charles is, cybersecurity, you have to take Unix Linux. Have you already taken that?
Yes, I have.
So you probably can tell us a lot more than I know about the way those operating systems work.
One of the reasons why I went ahead and got a Mac last semester and everything was so it forces me to take and use a Linux environment, even though I'm working with Objective-C as the shell for the Mac OS.
Yeah, and that's what we do in this last part when we do the iOS. We'll use Dreamweaver where we don't have to know the Objective-C, but that's really the best way to write the apps is if you know Objective-C. Okay, so here's the iOS platform. It's much simpler than Android. The apps sit on top of the Cocoa Touch layer, which contains many of the frameworks used to build apps, including user interface components, the map kit, the messaging kit, and more. So the media layer includes tools for graphics, audio, and video. And the core services layer contains lower-level frameworks such as location and networking services. So there's not as much to the iOS platform. It's a little simpler than its competitors, and it asks us in the book, why is that? Well, the answer lies in Apple being a hardware company, not a software company. And so Apple controls the devices on which iOS is deployed, whereas Android and Windows Phone must include virtual machine layers to handle differences in hardware. And see, that's what made it so difficult when we started running, trying to run all of the Microsoft Windows software back in, goodness, when was that? In the, I'm trying to think when I started here, was it 92? It was in the late 80s. I had to, that was when mostly everything was in mainframes and PCs were separate on desktops, and then we started trying to connect PCs to mainframes. Well, we had to load what was called emulation software. Well, if it did not have a pure Intel processor instead of what we used to call clone, which is what the AMD chips are, and there's no problem with those now, but originally there was a lot of problems with that because things did not run exactly the same on the clone. So Microsoft had all this software and saying it could run on all these different devices hardware-wise, but you really were never sure. We started out installing Epsons in banks, Epson clone computers they were called, and that was what 3/4 of my time was spent troubleshooting the emulator so it could actually talk to the mainframe. So now iOS, it doesn't have to go through that or create those emulations or virtual machines because it is a hardware company, and that's why I think Apple's are really better machines because the software is created the same place the hardware is. Now, the Windows Phone 7 platform, it's pretty complicated there also, just like the Android's one. And like I said, there's now Windows 8, not Windows 7. So what time is getting to be? App life cycle. Apps have a well-defined life cycle, encompasses the events of being started, running, and being destroyed. Each platform has specific code for these events. The OS calls the code you supply for each life cycle event automatically. So the life cycle events, like it talks about here on page 22, apps have a well-defined life cycle, and that's what we were just talking about there. Uses 4 types of components that represent the entry point into each application. These components are described in Table 2-1. There is let's see, where's this at? Activities are the app components, up in 2-1, represents a single screen with a user interface. And then the service component runs in the background to perform long-running operations. Then the content provider manages a shared set of application data. And that's what we've been working with on the Android, is just the content. The broadcast receiver responds to system-wide broadcast. So here's the life cycle of an Android. The activity starts, on create, on start, on resume, activity is running. Another activity comes to the front, you can pause it, other apps need memory. So activity is no longer visible. This is just showing you a flow of the activity life cycle in the Android. So it's a little different, but there's the components in Table 2-2 on page 23. There's the service life cycle. And this is just to kind of give you a background of how these different operating systems work and how much more complicated the Android and the Windows is. Okay, so see, if we look at the iOS app lifecycle, this is the one that we're going to be the most concerned with because it's easier to follow what's going on here. The iOS app lifecycle, the picture for it, let's see, this is on, where's it at? It's on page 29 in your book. But we did deal with event handlers in the Android, which with an event, as long as you keep clicking, like when I clicked that button, I had it set up to play that sound. So that's what we're programming in the things that we're doing right now. These are things that you don't do anything with. It's the user interface kit. But here's what your code is, the event handlers. I'm not even going to talk about the Windows 7. I probably won't put I will not put Windows 7 on the quiz either because I'm not really interested in, there's two. If we can do a little bit with Android and iOS, that's what our goals are. So here's where they compare. On an Android, it's called onCreate to start. And iOS, it's application, did finish launching with options. Here's running on start on resume. Application did become active. These are functions in the Android, and these are how you describe them in the iOS. And that is it. So what I want you to do is go ahead and start. I think, didn't I have, Catherine, are you in chart? What's on the, let me look on here again, who I have. Oops. Okay, Charles. Yeah, Charles, Brittany, Phillips, and Catherine. So you guys can kind of get an idea of what's required in the Chapter 2. You're going to prepare a presentation for the platform that you choose before a potential corporate customer. Topics should include user concerns as well as developer concerns. Good presentations will include discussion of the merits of developing for that given platform and point out the competitors' deficiencies. This encourages exploration into all of the platforms. So at the end of Chapter 2, research project number 1 said to prepare a table comparing the 3 major platforms in terms of market share. Now, you can do that with all 3, but I would be okay with the 2 major platforms and not deal with Windows. And then the number of devices available, number of apps available. Somebody might want to do that as part of the presentation. And then number 3 was to choose a platform and prepare a sales pitch directed at a fictitious company looking to standardize on a platform for its employees. Your pitch should include some visual aids as well as documentation comparing the platform you choose with the others. So that's really number 3 is what I'm asking you to do as a group. So one of you could pick one of the platforms and one the other, and then since there's 3 in a group, the other could show the deficiencies, or you can divide it up however you would like. But the presentation will be due September the 10th is a Wednesday. Isn't that right, I think? Let me see. And so I've got to find out when everybody can get together. Yeah, that's on a Wednesday. Okay, the 2 that are in the Hangout right now, are you all able to meet on Wednesday?
Yeah, I should be able to be on Wednesday, no problem.
Like this time of day?
3 and 4, but that's about it.
You what?
I have to pick up my son from school between 3 and 4.
Okay, so if we did it like say at 1, 12:30 or 1, what about you, Catherine?
12:30 or 1 should work for me. It's only in the evenings after 5:30 when it gets kind of complicated for me.
Okay, so I need to find out with Brittany and the other people that we're not in at this time. They may not be able to. Seems like Brittany Cox works from 12 to late at night, so I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to, what I'm going to be able to do with her. But I think Melissa did come in before. So I'll get in touch with or see if I can't hear back from them on the email, and then we'll go from there. And I'm hoping this Hangout worked. Let's see, where did it go? Now I don't see it. But I know y'all are still in here, so, oh, I know where it is. It must be up here. And then here. Okay, so y'all are free to go then, and I'll stop the broadcast.